Hey, you guys. You can see me, but I can't see you. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes before I'm going to start. I just wanted to get on here live to make sure all hubs and all hosts are good to go. So you should see me, you should hear me, and I want to give you a couple minutes to get all set up before we are like officially ready to roll. Anybody excited? Because I am. Hub hosts, if you're having any sort of problems, Vox me in our Daring Greatly group, okay? I'll be checking that periodically throughout the evening just to make sure we're all good. Yay, thanks, Callie. That's super fun. I'm glad I'm coming through. All the way from North Dakota. All right, the Colson cuties are on. Love it. I see you guys. All right, we're going to start in like 2 minutes, okay? Angel, I see your hub. Robin, I see your hub. Alicia, I see your hub at your studio. That is so fun. Laura, I see your hub. Chris, Colleen. Thank you for sending these. You guys are all together and I'm all alone here in my office. Mary Cho, I see all your girls. Oh, that is so fun. Super fun. Okay, so it is 7 p.m. Eastern on the dot, and we are going to get started, you guys. I'm like so excited, like so super excited. When I planned this, you guys, I had a goal of 100. I'm like, okay, we're going to have 100. That would be cool. And 150 would like blow my mind if we had 150. So that's what I was sort of planning for. And we have nearly 500 women. I think we're at like 475 or somewhere right around there. And so just thank you to you guys and congratulations for like being ready and wanting more and like doing the hard thing to be a part of this, because it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. And so, so many hubs coming in. I love this. Oh, Cincinnati, I see you. That is awesome. Okay, so let me just share with you some of my goals that I want to see happen over the next three weeks. Number one is just to create a sense of community, okay? So that's why we like made you figure out these hubs, and that's why you're not in the comfort of your own home right now. You had to leave your house. You probably had to put your makeup on. You might have had to arrange childcare with your husband or someone else. Like, I wanted you to go out of your way to be in a hub. And I know it was a hassle. It was a hassle on our end just to get the hubs all organized and get the packets sent out, but I wanted you to go out of your way. And I didn't mind if you were a little hassled by it, because I want to bring people together in groups. I think there's power in community and there's power in groups. And so that's why you're a part of the hub. That's also why we have our Facebook group, because again, it's another community. It's another way to encourage each other and to support each other and to recognize each other. Okay, so get connected to that Facebook group, and you're gonna have to stay up to date daily. I mean, we're posting things daily. And so you gotta stay on it. You gotta have your notifications on and stay plugged into that Facebook group. And so I wanted to create community, okay? And then the second thing is I wanna just do some world, feel empowered, and I want you to feel like you have the knowledge and the skills to really go out there and be successful. So a core of tonight and each Monday, the next 2 Mondays, is going to be just some real like meat and potatoes, heart and soul training in Mary Kay. So you are equipped with skills. And then the third thing is that we want you in action, okay? You know, it's one thing to learn tonight, but then it's quite another to put it in action. And so we want you to be in action. And that is why we have these vouchers. Okay, so we started with the early bird kind of bonus voucher just to get you warmed up and to get you in motion. Well, they're going to be a little bit more involved for this week, next week, and the third week. Okay, so you have voucher 1 this week, voucher 2 next week, voucher 3 the third and final week. And so it's going to be, there's going to be more. And if you've checked out the link, you can see it's a little bit more involved than the early bird bonus voucher, because we want you in motion. We want you to take what you're learning and put it into action, because knowledge means nothing unless you're applying the knowledge, okay? So we want to create community, equip you with the skills, and then give you a plan of action and teach you to get small wins as you're moving towards your bigger win, okay? We are going to give away a clutch purse every day, Tuesday through Friday for the next 3 weeks, and that's for the marketing hangouts. Later on tonight, I'm going to explain those in detail. I know we've got some questions and there's a little bit of confusion with those, so I will explain those in detail, but every day we'll be giving away a designer clutch purse, and we'll be announcing it in our Facebook group. And then we're also using Twitter. That's another, I wanted to use that form of social media to also create a sense of community and for it to be for it to just be an encouragement. I think sometimes things get a little bit lost on Facebook, but in Twitter, you can choose who you follow, you can use your hashtags, and by following this Daring Greatly hashtag that we're using, that I want you to use in every post that you put on Twitter for the next 3 weeks, you can sort of follow that hashtag and just be encouraged by it. Be encouraged by everyone else's wins and being a part of a community. So that is the goal, and that's what we're going to do for the next 3 weeks. And so now I want to transition into talking about the Daring Greatly way. And I want to talk about why that's our theme and just the mindset that I want to cultivate in all of us over these next 3 weeks, Daring Greatly. So this came from a quote. You may have heard the quote before. I'm going to read it to you in a minute. It's a Theodore Roosevelt quote. And so me and this quote, we like go way back, okay? I first fell in love with this quote in college. I played varsity volleyball in college, and I was a co-captain for 2 years. And one of our responsibilities as the captains were to like just write inspirational things on the whiteboard in our locker room. And so I came upon this quote somehow. I don't even know where I first read it, and I wrote it up on our whiteboard, and it was just a source of inspiration and encouragement for me personally, and then also for our team. So that's when I first loved that quote. And then my very first speech that I ever gave at career conference, because that quote had been so significant to me in college, I included it in that speech that I think I gave, I think it was 2008 or 2009. It was my very first time as one of the top 3 units. We were the number 2 unit, I believe, or maybe number 3 in Cincinnati. And I think it was 2008, I'm pretty sure, 2009. And so I read that speech or that quote during that speech. And then I recently started following Brené Brown. Brene Brown. I watch her YouTube videos. At our Epic NSD to Be event that I did with Pam Shaw and Julia Burnett in June, this past June, we shared some of the things I've learned from Brene Brown and some of her YouTube videos. And she recently wrote a book called Daring Greatly that is based on this quote. And I actually saw this interview where Chase Jarvis actually interviewed her live, and she was like talking about her book, and she talked about the quote, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the quote. It's the quote that's like followed me since college, that has always been such an inspiration. And I'm like, I've got to do something with this. And so I got the book. I'm about halfway through her Daring Greatly book, and have just been thinking about like living the daring greatly way, and like having that daring greatly mindset, and how to think like that, how to live like that, and how it can benefit our Mary Kay businesses. And so let me read it to you, you guys, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I think this means. Okay, so here's the quote. It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who at best knows the triumphs of high achievement, and who at worst, if she fails, she at least fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Okay, isn't that powerful? And so we're going to learn this daring greatly way that's described in this quote. And let me tell you, it is not for the faint of heart. Okay, it is not for the faint of heart. It is for the courageous woman who is scared but willing to do it scared, who's afraid but does it afraid, the woman who feels the fear but proceeds anyways. It is the woman who wants to be in the arena, you guys. And let me tell you, it's easy to be like a naysayer on the sideline, like not in the arena, but like watching the arena or standing on the sidelines commenting about people who are in the arena. Like it's super easy to be that naysayer on the sidelines, but it's tough to actually be the woman in the arena with all the naysayers standing along the sidelines, making comments and talking about what you're doing. And so I want you to get in the arena for the next 3 weeks. Okay, I want you to get in the arena for the next 3 weeks. And so what is the arena in Mary Kay, you guys? It is the Mary Kay party, the skincare class. It's the Mary Kay facial. It's the Mary Kay meeting. It's career surveys that you do with your prospects. It's really anytime you're in front of someone regarding our product or our opportunity, you are in the arena, okay? Anytime you're in front of someone sharing our product, sharing our opportunity, you are in the arena. And here's the thing about the arena, is you could very well fail while you're in the arena. In fact, I'm gonna guess you're probably gonna fail in some way in these next 3 weeks. You could have a party where you sell nothing. You could experience rejection. You could hear a lot of no's. You could miss your goal. That may happen over these next 3 weeks when you're in the arena. But better that, you guys, better to be in the arena and fail than to be that cold and timid soul on the sideline who knows neither victory nor defeat. Okay, let's get in the arena over these next 3 weeks. And that's what I was thinking about when I was creating these vouchers, is I'm thinking like, how can I get them in the arena? How can I get them in front of people sharing this product and sharing this opportunity? And so it's gonna be hard. Okay, so that's why I wore this t-shirt, you guys. Let me show you. You guys like that? Don't quit. If it hurts, it's working. Darren Hardy. I wore this t-shirt because I think it's like the Daring Greatly way. You know, don't quit. If it hurts, it's working. And so it might hurt a little bit in these next 3 weeks, but that means you're right where you need to be. Okay, so let me explain another analogy that I feel like is a really great description of the Daring Greatly way. Okay, so I want you to just picture this with me. And I want you to like really apply this to the next 3 weeks and what you're gonna do for the next 3 weeks. So life is like a pendulum, okay? Life is like a pendulum, and on one side, there is pain and rejection and failure, okay? On the other side, there is joy and success and happiness that comes from success, and personal satisfaction that comes from growth. Okay, those are the two sides. Now, if you stay in the middle, the good thing is if you stay right in the middle, guess what? You're not going to experience pain, rejection, or failure. Okay, that's a good thing. But you also won't experience the thrill and the joy and the satisfaction that can come from success. Okay. Also, when you stay in the middle, no one else is affected. You don't touch anyone in the middle. You have to swing out to the sides to change lives and to touch other people's lives. And so I think most people live in the middle. I think the middle is your comfort zone. It's your comfort zone where you just play it safe. You probably fly under the radar. Status quo is enough. Going through the motions is enough. And mediocrity is okay. That's what I think the middle is. You don't experience a lot of failure, no, and I guess that's a good thing, but you also don't enjoy the satisfaction that comes from success, and that it can be very regretful. So here's the thing with the pendulum, okay? Remember, there's the two opposite sides. You could stay in the middle and not experience either and not really impact anyone's life. But the thing is, you can't just like walk over to the side of joy, success, and happiness, okay? You can't just like walk over and like plop yourself down. You can't do that. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. The only side you have control over is the side of rejection and failure. You can control that side. And when you swing it high and wide on the side of pain, rejection, and failure, it swings back in equilibrium to the other side of joy, success, and satisfaction that comes from success. And the harder you swing on the side of failure, the harder it swings back on the side of success. And that is the daring greatly way, my friends. I think that's a perfect image and picture and analogy of what the daring way is. And so you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to do big and scary and hard things. You have to be willing to stretch yourself. You have to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone. And it's saying what it is. It's saying yes to momentary like displeasure. Okay. So like, I know that making booking calls is not like probably the most enjoyable, pleasurable thing you can do in the moment. Okay. But you say yes to like maybe the more displeasing activity. So you say yes to the booking calls, even though there's probably something better you would like to do. So you enjoy the reward of success that choice leads to, okay? But most people are in the habit of saying yes to momentary pleasure, okay? Immediate gratification. Yes to momentary pleasure and immediate gratification. And therefore, you do say no to a lifetime of success and choices when you only do what feels good in the moment. And so I will always choose momentary displeasure for a lifetime of success and choices. And that's what you're going to have to do for the next 3 weeks, is really choose that uncomfortable thing in the moment for what it's going to lead you to. Obedience and discipline is usually not feeling really good in the moment, but man, the satisfaction and the rewards that come from discipline and obedience make it worth it. And so I'm going to teach you to fail over the next 3 weeks. Aren't you excited that you signed up for this? I'm going to teach you to fail over these next 3 weeks. And it's probably not what you wanted to hear. You're probably thinking, what did I get myself into? But I am going to teach you to fail because I'm going to teach you to do big things and to step outside of your comfort zone. And I'm going to teach you to do it scared. And if you're willing to try, you may fail. But the bigger and harder you fail means the bigger the experience of success that you're going to achieve in the process. Our own Mary Kay Ash had the bloodiest knees, you guys. She had the bloodiest knees because she was out there in the arena. She was out there in the arena doing it while naysayers were talking and talking and talking. She was out there doing it. and falling and getting back up again and falling and getting back up again. Okay, she swung that pendulum high and wide on the side of failure and rejection and hard work. And it swung back in equilibrium to the side of success and satisfaction and the amount of lives that were impacted by the choices she made when she was willing to do big things and do scary things and willing to fail. So now that I've explained the Daring Greatly way, you guys, I want to talk a little bit about success and get a really good picture of what success is for you guys. I am catching up on our Daring Greatly Voxer group here, and I love seeing you guys. This is so awesome. So super fun. Thank you for posting these. It's so nice to see your faces. So keep them coming. Okay, so we're gonna start really broad and really identify your vision and like what success means to you. Okay, so we're gonna start with that really broad picture. This involves the letter that you're gonna write to your director and to me. And then sales directors, you would write it to your national sales director, okay? So we wanna start really broad, get a big picture and a clear picture about what success looks like. After that, you guys, we're gonna dig into some like nitty-gritty training. And I am gonna take little 5-minute breaks throughout the evening because I know it's a lot just to sit and like listen for 2.5 hours. Okay, so we will take little breaks so you can move around and have potty breaks and do whatever you need to do. Also, if you look at the topics that we're covering in the workbook, I like loaded them up for this first week and kind of tapered off because I have a feeling we may not have time for everything that I have planned for this week. And so I kind of loaded it up on the front end. So if we run out of time, we can catch up in the 3 weeks, but we will cover everything. I will make sure of that. And so let's start broad. We talked about this a little bit at Fall Advance. So those of you who are at the Unleashed Area Fall Advance last weekend, this will be a little bit of a review, but I think it's a good thing to review. And so I'm going to ask you the question, what does success mean to you? Okay, what does success mean to you? What does success look like to you? If you were to make the statement, I am living a successful life, what would your life look like? And not just in Mary Kay, you guys, but as a wife, as a mom, as a sister, as a friend. You want to think of like the big, broad picture and think about the different roles that you play in your life. Okay, so what does success look like to you? And I want you to actually put your pens down right now if you're taking notes and just like take a deep breath and close your eyes if you want to. Okay, I can't see you, but if you want to just close your eyes and sort of like take a moment to think through these questions. I want you to just sort of process through these questions right now. Okay, when your life is over or when you're approaching the end of your life, what would you be glad you could say that you did? What would you be glad to say that you stood for? How would you want people to describe you? What legacy would you want to leave behind? And what would actually have to happen for you to really say, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. And even to be able to say, like, I left nothing on the table. Like I was used up, spent, wrung out for God's vision for my life. I left nothing on the table. What would have to happen? What would your life look like? What would your relationships look like? What would your business look like? What would your finances look like? What would your choices look like? What would your flexibility look like? Okay, start to really formulate a really clear picture because I think it's so important to define what success means to you. And I think most people live their lives without ever defining it and without ever getting really clear, but not you, because we're going to figure this out tonight and over the next 3 weeks. And so I did want to share my answer with you when these questions were asked of me. I actually did a 12 webinar series with Darren Hardy. It's a training series that he created for entrepreneurs and really did some really excellent training on how to equip entrepreneurs to be successful in their businesses, because 66% of businesses fail in America. And that is Darren Hardy's big mission, is to equip entrepreneurs to be successful. And so one of his webinars covered some of these things I'm going to share with you about defining what success looks like for you. Like, you got to start with that vision and then go from there. And so here's my answer. When I was asked, how would you define success? Here's what I came up with, and I actually typed this out as I was listening to his webinar. Okay, so success to me is an authentic and intimate walk with God, a thriving relationship with Jesus, a life of holiness and obedience, abiding in his presence moment to moment, learning truth through his word. Those things are foundational for me. All else will flow from that center. And then you'll kind of notice that I kind of go into different categories, okay? So my next sort of thing I was thinking is to live this one precious life I've been given to the full, tapping out my God-given potential, always intentionally growing spiritually, personally, and professionally, glorifying God in the primary roles he's given me as a Christ follower, a wife, a mom, and an NSD, being wrung out, used up, fully spent, nothing left on the table when this life is over, living a hashtag all in life in everything that I do, choosing and living in gratitude and joy, having a marriage of trust and intimacy, always keeping it real and intentional about connecting, being best friends for life, being hashtag all in with my kids, being present in the moment, having intentional time with them, teaching them to love and trust God, modeling a life of faith, obedience, and excellence for them, praying for them daily, investing in relationships and people, always valuing the people that God has placed in my life, creating memories with friends and family and with my area as we build an inner circle national area. Coaching, teaching, training, and inspiring women to fulfill their dreams, modeling authentic leadership, having connected and meaningful relationships with my directors and my future offspring national sales directors, teaching women to lead themselves and to lead others in order to improve the quality of family life in America, to use the time, wealth, and resources God has given me to serve others, to use my platform as an NSD to share the truth about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so I'll ask again, what does success mean to you? What does it mean to you? Define it. Make it clear, because vague plans equal vague results, and there's nothing exciting about vague. And so think about every area of your life and every role that you play. And this is sort of going to weave into your I am willing to dare greatly letter that you're going to write. And yes, I did say a letter, and you're going to write it, or you can type it. That's fine if you type it. You don't have to do handwriting. But this page in your packet gives you instructions, and you're going to answer 3 questions. What would you do in your Mary Kay business if you decide to dare greatly? Like, what would that look like? And I left this question really open-ended and vague because I just want you to define it. Like, what does daring greatly mean to you? What does that look like to you? How would you dare greatly in your business right now? Second question is, what does success mean to you? Okay, I just described what success looks like to me. What does it mean to you? What does it look like? Define it, describe it. And then the third question is, if you put the time, effort, focus, and dedication and work into your Mary Kay business that you want to, how would it change things for your family a year from now? Like, what would life look like in a year if you really gave it your all? Like, both hands, both feet, heart over the line, all in for your Mary Kay business. How would it change your life? How would it change your finances, your flexibility, your choices, your confidence? How would it change your life? So you're going to write this out or type it. You're going to take a picture and you're going to send it to your director because she wants to see it. And then you are going to put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and you're going to mail it to me. And it is worth 5,000 points to write the letter and send it to your director. It's worth, I believe, I forgot to look it up. I think 20,000. I think it's worth 20,000 points for you guys this week to mail it to me. It has to be postmarked by November 7th, which I believe is Sunday. So you've got a week, a little less than a week to write this and send it to me. And yes, I'm going to read them. It might take me couple weeks to do that, but I'm going to read them and I'm going to respond to you. And I want to hear what success looks like to you. Okay, so let's take like a 2-minute break. Now that we are about almost 30 minutes in, I want to take like a 2-minute break. Okay, and hosts, you need to facilitate this, okay? I want you to choose a partner and just share some of your initial thoughts about what you're gonna write in your letter. Okay, what were some like initial things that came to mind that's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna write about this, or this is important to me. I want you to take 2 minutes and 2 minutes only, and I want you to share that with a friend, and then we will continue. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, you guys, let's move on. Okay, so now we're getting into like the meat and potatoes training that I'm going to do. I want to talk to the more seasoned consultants and directors who may have really already mastered these skills. I realize some of you, you've got some of this stuff. You've got it. Like you could teach it. You could get on here and teach everyone how to do it. And so I want to just have you guys think about, does everyone on your team know how to do this? And how effective is your training and communication to your new people or to your new consultants or to some of your key people? How well do they know some of this stuff? And is it a core part of your teaching, your coaching, and your training? Like when consultants come into your unit, how will they get this information? And how are you sharing it with them? And are all the consultants coming into your unit having access to this and really having the opportunity to master these skills? I'll share something with you really quickly. I have done new consultant training and training on the basics. I've done it every which way you could possibly imagine. Okay, I've done it before the meeting. I've done it after the meeting. I've done it on one Sunday a month for 4 hours. I've done it on 2 Saturdays a month for 2 hours. I've done it on every Saturday for 1 hour. I mean, if I've done conference calls. If you could think of a way to do new consultant training, I've tried it. One of my strongest seasons of new consultant training was, let's see, I did it 2 different ways. I did it for an hour before the meeting, and then I transitioned to doing it 2 Saturdays a month for 2 hours. And so we'd cover the first 2 topics that first Saturday and the second 2 topics that the next Saturday. And I would just keep rotating through. And I was like a beast about it. I mean, I was texting all the new consultants, making sure they were coming, making sure they knew how many they had left to go. I mean, I was a beast about my new people getting trained and getting trained really well. And then I even created the CDs so that they would hear the information live with me, and then I would have them listen to the CDs so they would hear it again and again and again. I mean, I was just a beast about it. And that was the strongest season. I forget what year it was, but it was leading up to finishing our national area. And then I transitioned into, like, when we really started to enter the window of finishing our national area, I transitioned into to not doing it as much. Sometimes a red jacket would do it. Sometimes I would do it. I wasn't as intentional about it. And now that I'm 3 years out, I look back and I noticed that the last crop of directors that sort of helped us finish our area, and that are still even debuting directors who were in my unit at that time, they came from that season of like hardcore beast mode new consultant training. And I only recently recognized the connection. I'm like, they all kind of like went through that season where I was being really intentional about equipping my consultants to be successful. And so that's just a message to sales directors. I mean, consultants, that story doesn't really apply to you at this point, but just to all the sales directors out there, what is your system for new consultant training? How tight is it? Are you a beast about making sure your people are really well equipped to go out there and be successful? Okay, because that's what we're gonna do right now. And so we're going to start with booking, because it's just obvious to start there. We book, we coach, we sell, and we recruit, but it all starts with bookings. You can't do any of those other things unless you have bookings. It really is the life, and it's the lifeline of your business. And so I do want to talk about Book 10. I grew up doing Book 10. That is something Pam Shaw always taught me when I was a director, to do a Book 10 by the 5th, okay, by the 5th of the month. Because if it's not done by the 5th, you guys, let's be honest, it's probably not ever going to get done. And so you've got that like first real deadline in the beginning of the month, 5 days in, to have 10 parties on your date book within a 30-day time frame that are group appointments, okay, not facials, but group of appointments with a hostess plus a guest list. Okay, Book 10 is in your voucher this week. It's worth 50,000 points. I don't think anything else is worth that much. This is how important Book 10 is, and to get your month set up on the front end. Because I think you could hold 10 parties in the first half of the month, or hold 10 parties in the second half of the month. Like, let's say you hold 10 parties, the exact same 10 parties on the first half, versus maybe doing it on the second half. And they are the exact same parties, the exact same results. Guess which month is going to be a lot stronger? It's the month you held them on the first half. I promise you, because it gives you that second half to do the follow-ups, to do the layering, and to really get the results out of those first parties that you held. So you've got to get it set up strong on the front end. And you know what? If a Book 10 is overwhelming, you guys, start with a Book 5. Okay, I realize we may have some new consultants on here, or some consultants who are just like sort of restarting your business, and I say Book 10 and you want to like go run in the corner and cry. Okay, start with a Book 5. Okay, start with a Book 5. If you book 10, you're going to hold 5 of those. Okay, if you book 5, you're going to hold 2 or 3. Okay, book 10 to hold 5 or 6, book 5 to hold 2 or 3. Here's what I would do. I would book 10 for the 1st through the 15th of the month, the first 2 weeks. I would book 10 in that 2-week time frame to hold 5. As I'm approaching the middle of the month, I would make sure I book 10 from the 16th through the 30th to hold another 5. My goal was always to hold 10 parties, 2 to 3 a week. 2 to 3 a week was just sort of my little routine. 2 to 3 a week was my average. Hold 5 on the first half, hold another 5 on the second half. And of course, if they're well coached and you're in the target market, that is going to most likely produce a power start. And when you add in the career surveys and the sales, it's going to produce what we call in the Unleashed area Gen X, which is a power start plus career surveys and new team members in sales. Okay, so that's what I would do, a book 10 and then another book 10 to hold a total of 10 parties. For those of you who may not want to put that kind of time into your business, do a book 5 and then a book 5, and you'll hold 5. Book 5 to hold 2 or 3, book another 5 to hold 2 or 3. And that's about 1 party a week. If you did that consistently, like watch out, here you come. I mean, you would be blown away by what a little bit of consistency, even holding 1 party a week, what that can do for your business, okay? And so it is the 2nd now. We have 3 days. We have 3 days before the 5th, which is the deadline for your book 10 that has to be turned into your director. And so I want you to really figure out right now, and maybe even do some planning. If you've got your calendar, your date book, do some planning and figure out like, okay, how many more bookings do you need to hit your 10 or your 5 if you're going for that? And I would say you need an hour for every 2 bookings, okay? An hour for two bookings that are going to be on your date book and then confirmed the next day. That's just a rough estimate. You may need more time than that. You may need less time than that. But I think it's safe to say if you spend an hour, you're going to get 2 bookings conservatively. Okay, so let's say you need 8. Let's say you need 8 parties. You only have 2 on the date book and you need 8 by the 5th. Then you would need to do about 4 hours of booking. Okay, that's another task on your voucher, is to fit in 4 hours of booking this week. And so let's say you do 2 hours on Tuesday, tomorrow, and then 2 hours on Wednesday, and then you leave Thursday to coach and confirm. Okay, that's probably the biggest mistake people make with a book 10 is you wait too long and then you don't have that day to really coach them and confirm them. And they don't count if they're not confirmed. They don't count for your book 10 if they're not confirmed. And if you don't have the guest list, or at least the guest list is in motion, okay? Meaning like she's getting her list ready for you and she's agreed to send it to you. And so a lot of times what book 10 requires is just planning. Okay, so tomorrow, when can you carve out 2 hours? And if you don't have a 2-hour chunk, do 30 minutes in the morning when you start your day. Calls are fair game after 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. you can get on the phone and start making calls. Do 30 minutes in the morning. Do 30 minutes on your lunch break. Do 30 minutes right after work in your car. Get home, have dinner with the family and the kids. Go do another hour after that. You know, break it up, and you can really fit that time in. Okay, I don't even know if that's probably more than 2 hours if you did all of that. But break it up if you don't have that solid 2-hour time frame. And so let's go through the Power Start script. This is in your workbook. So I didn't want you to have to like scramble to write all the words down. I wanted you to have those. I wanted you to just sort of be able to listen and like maybe jot down ideas and notes as you go. But like the words are there. You really sort of need to get the, not necessarily the words, but it's sometimes just how you say it and saying it with confidence and being aware of your tone. And so you've got the words there in the packet. And let me tell you that you could beg, steal, or borrow 5 bookings tonight if you really wanted to. Beg, steal, or borrow 5 bookings tonight from people who just owe you. Like they just love you or they just owe you. When I was a new consultant, I didn't ask my mom and my sisters to have a party for me. I really actually just picked the date and I told them the date that it was on and told them how many friends to invite because they just had to help me. They had no choice. They had to help me, okay? You have people in your life that just have to help you. They just have to help you. And so you could beg, steal, or borrow 5 bookings tonight if you really needed to, just from friends, from family, from people who love you, from people who owe you. Get creative. Start asking. Enroll people in your goals. You probably just haven't been gutsy enough to like make it happen, okay? So there are bookings out there to be had. You just need to start asking. And so the Power Start script, you guys, I'm just gonna, okay, let me back up a little bit. The outline is to have your little intro and, say, hey, this is Leah. If you have a relationship with her, that might involve a little bit of small talk on the phone. And then you always value her time. If you're on the phone with her, you value her time. You say, hey, do you have a quick minute? You don't want to try to book her if she's like busy making dinner and has the kids screaming in the background. And then you go into your goal. Okay, you go into your goal, like, hey, I'm working on this really big goal in Mary Kay to practice on 30 faces, or to hold 10 parties, or to hold 5 holiday pampering sessions. I mean, whatever you want to call it, or however you want to describe your goal to fit your style is fine, but you share the goal with her. And you can even say like, hey, my director challenged me to do this, and I don't know if I can, but I'm going to go for it. And I thought of you because, okay, I thought of you because thought of you because, we haven't gotten together in a while, and I would just love to like see you and catch up and pamper you a little bit. I thought of you because your makeup always looks phenomenal, and I would just love to get your opinion of the products and like see what you think about Mary Kay. And so you fill in your own I thought of you because, and of course make it sincere. People can feel when it's sincere. And let me also back up and say that the Power Start script, you guys, it's for people you know. It's for people you have a relationship with. You don't have to know them well, but it's for those friends and family who know your name and your face. Okay, you wouldn't use a Power Start script on a referral. That's going to be a different script that we go over in a few minutes. Okay. And then you go on to say, I'd love to borrow your face and get your opinion of our product. Just for getting together with me, you get a $10 gift card that you can spend on any products that you fall in love with. And hey, I do my appointments sometimes on weeknights or on weekends. What would work better for you, like a weeknight or a weekend? And that is the Power Start script. Okay, a couple tips with this. Do it in front of the mirror. Book in front of the mirror. I would always, not always, but I would often sit in my bathroom in my 2-bedroom apartment when I was new in Mary Kay, shut the door, and I would sit on the counter. I would book in front of the mirror because I would smile. Like I would smile, and for whatever reason, it like gave me more energy. And so book in front of the mirror. That's always a tip that my director gave me. Also, here's where the awkward part is that you say all of this stuff without pausing. Okay, you say it all without pausing, and you don't ever ask a yes or no question. And so you would say, hey girl, this is Leah. Do you have a quick minute? She says yes. And then you would start your script, and you're really not going to pause until you get to the part where you're offering your availability. You say, hey, I'm working on this really big goal. My director actually challenged me to practice on 30 faces this month just to get my practice in. And I would love to borrow your face. And I thought of you just because we haven't got together in a while, and I would love to borrow your face and get your opinion of the products. You do get a $10 gift card just for getting together with me. And hey, I do my appointments sometimes on weeknights and on some weekends. What would work better for you? Would it be a weeknight or a weekend? Okay, so that in the beginning, that was the most awkward part to me, is that there was no pause. You don't let her talk. You sort of like get your script out, then you offer her your availability. Okay, so you never ask, are you interested or do you want to? You just assume she's going to help you with the goal. And then you offer the days of the week, or you might say, well, I do my appointments on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or whatever your availability is. That's another important tip, is that you offer options. Okay, you offer 2 or 3 options. You don't say what works best for you, just open-ended. Okay, when women have too many choices, they can't make a decision. And so you have to be clear about what your availability is. That also, I think, you come across as more of a professional when you're just offering your availability. Okay, and so then you turn that facial into a party. So let's say she says, you know what, weeknights are better for me. And then you say, well, okay, would a Tuesday or Wednesday work better for you? And then she tells you. And then you say, okay, like before dinner or after dinner? And then she tells you. And so you sort of like narrow it down to a date and time. Here's what you get a lot of. You get a lot of like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Can I call you back about the date? Let me check my schedule and I'll call you back. Okay, you're gonna get a lot of that. And so whenever someone would say that to me, I would say, yeah, okay, well tell me, like, what typically like works better for you? Is it like usually a weeknight or a weekend? And she's gonna answer. And so I would try that what we call a tentative booking approach, where I would say, well, hey, like what typically works better? Even if we just have to pencil it in, is it a weeknight that is your schedule is more free, or do you have more free time on the weekend? And so I would try to tentatively book her, even if she says, can I call you back? If she's really pushing you on like, hey, I really need to check my schedule and I need to call you back, then you would say like, hey, yeah, that sounds good. You check your schedule. I'm actually going to be in the office around lunchtime tomorrow or in the evening. And would it be okay if I followed up with you? And she says yes. And you set a specific time to call her back. Okay, this is your business. Leave the ball in your court. Don't leave the ball in her court to call you back. You always, always, always call her back. Okay, so she says, hey, can I call you back? I would always say, yeah, well, hey, I tell you what, I'm going to be in the office around lunchtime tomorrow and also in the evening. When would be a better time to reach you? And she tells you and say, hey, would it be okay if I followed up with you at that time? Ball is in your court. You follow up with her because she probably means to call you back, but guess what? She's not going to. Not because she doesn't love you, not because she doesn't care. She just forgets. Okay. She's busy. She's a busy woman too. And it's not as important to her as it is to you. So keep the ball in your court and you call her back. Okay. Once you reach an agreement on a date, then you turn that facial into a party. Okay, so the way you do that is you say, okay, well, a really fun thing about your appointment is you can bring girlfriends. When you share your appointment with at least 2 friends over 18, you actually receive more free gifts and discounts. And I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I know you all have different Hostess programs, so you would maybe mention a part of your Hostess program or a discount that you would offer, or the Hostess program that you have. So you're basically saying you're going to receive more free stuff for having girlfriends. So, hey, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to invite a couple of girlfriends? It would make it super fun. That's how you turn the facial into a party. As you say, a fun thing about your appointment is you can actually have girlfriends attend with you. And then you finish with, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to have a couple of girlfriends attend the appointment with you? Okay, so you booked her for a time. You turned her facial into a party. Because until you booked her, you didn't mention a party. You don't mention the party until after you booked her. And then you start the initial coaching. And there's going to be really 2 different coaching sessions that you do with her. The initial coaching, number 1 is you want to get the guest list. Your guest list is like insurance. It's insurance that the party's going to hold, and then it's going to be worth your time. A lot of you, or way too many of you, just like leave it up to chance. And you don't get the guest list. And then you think you have a party and a booking that's going to help you with your goals, but you really don't, because if you don't have a guest list, you don't really have a party. Okay? If you don't have a guest list, you don't really have a party on the date book, because it's nothing you can really count on. And so guest list is your insurance, and it's all about how you say it on the front end and how you present it to her. I do hear about consultants having a hard time getting the guest list. And so it's either what you're saying or not saying, or possibly how you're saying it and the tone of voice that you're using and the level of confidence you had with it. And so it might just be a matter of practicing a little bit more to build your confidence with saying the script to get the guest list. And so what I say is, once we've decided this is going to be a party, she wants to invite friends, I say, you know what? I want to take care of all the work for you. I don't want this to be a hassle for you at all. The only thing I need from you is a list of 20 girlfriends. Like, I don't even call it a guest list. I just say, hey, all I need is like a list of 20 of your most favorite girlfriends that you want to invite, and I'll take care of everything else. I actually have these really cute invitations that I'll send to them. So, start thinking about the women you want to invite and tell them about it, but I'll make sure they get a cute invitation from me so they have all the details. You can earn more free product for having 5 girlfriends who are 18 or over. Now, to get 5 to show up, you need to invite about like 15 to 20, because not everyone's going to be able to come. And so what we do next is we follow up in 24 hours just to confirm your date and give you a chance to double check everything. And then I'll also get your list of girlfriends you want to invite so I can start getting some invitations ready. Okay. And so that is the initial coaching script, which again is in your packet. And so I think some important things to say on the front end is, hey, I want to do all the work for you. I don't want this to be a hassle for you at all. So you need to say that. Also, that you've got cute invitations that you want to send to her. She can still invite them and tell them about it, because you want her to talk to them about it, but you'll have the cute invitations that you'll send to them so they have all the details. And then you say, well, what we need to do next is follow up in 24 hours just to confirm everything. And at that time, I'll get your list of girlfriends that you want to invite. Also, at that time, you are pre-profiling her, which we're going to go over that script in just a minute. And so then you go on to set up that call the next day. And you're doing it at a specific time. That's another big mistake people make with coaching, is it's like, hey, I'll just call you tomorrow. And there's no specific time that was set up. Now, a tip I'm going to give you so that you're not like always having to remember these like tons of calls that you have to do at different times of the day, is just pick 2 time frames that you're going to do your coaching. Maybe you do 15 or 20 minutes of coaching calls around lunchtime, and then you do 15 or 20 minutes around dinner time, so that when you're offering people your options, you say, well, hey, I'm going to be in the office around lunchtime or a little bit after dinner. What would be a better time for you? And so she's going to pick one of the 2, and then you're going to do a couple coaching calls around lunchtime, and you're going to do another couple coaching calls in the evening. That makes your schedule flow a little bit better to just have those 2 time frames that you're calling people back. In the beginning, I did offer a free eyeshadow for getting me the guest list in 48 hours. But then I sort of dropped that idea, and I weaved it into my Hostess program. For the majority of my business, I used earn 100 free if you party with me. It was $25 for giving me the guest list within 48 hours. It was $25 for having 5 people over 18. It was $25 for having $100 in outside orders. And it was $100 for holding the original date. So like the original date, if she held it on that date, she would earn the free product. And so I really put money where I wanted to see results. I wanted that guest list. I wanted it on the original date. I wanted her to have people there, 5 women, 18 or older. And I wanted the outside orders, so I knew that I had sales like right on the front end. And so I gave her $100 free for doing those things if somebody did all 4 of those things. But let me tell you, it was a rockin' awesome party if she earned all 4 of those. It was a phenomenal party. Okay, so yes, you're giving stuff away. You are, but you're getting something in return. And people would, because I did a really great job of explaining my Hostess program at my parties, and we're going to go over that later. But I did a really good job of romancing it, that people would like book right then and there. They're like, I'll have a party. I'll get 100 free. I want to get $100 in free product. I'll have a party. And so it was enough incentive that motivated people, but then they were doing things to earn it that gave me assurance that it would be a successful party. Okay, you always put money where you want to get results. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on the Hostess program because I know you all have different ones, and I don't want to create confusion. But you first of all, you have to be excited about it. You have to be sincerely excited about it. Like, would you book with you? Would you book with you because of your Hostess program? So you've got to be excited about it. Number 2 is you have to stick to one. So find that one and like stick to it. Okay. A lot of times you're switching things up a little bit too much, and you need to have like your signature Hostess program. And then the third thing, so number 1, you have to be excited about it. You have to stick to one. And then the third thing is you really have to be clear. You've got to be clear on what it is. There was many different things I tried that I was confused. I was confused. I'm like, what am I offering? What do they have to do to get this? If you're confused, she's confused. And a confused mind does nothing and can't make a decision, and they're not going to be excited about it because they're confused. Okay, so make sure you're clear so that you can clearly explain it to them. Back in the day, I would mail invitations to them. Now I would use a pic collage. I would create a cute little invite that you can like tweak for every little party that you do, but kind of has the same template. And I would be texting these invites to her guest list. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay. So now let's talk about the 24-hour call later. I'm going to give you guys a break here soon. So I hope you're hanging in there with me. So let's talk about that 24-hour call later. And even if the party is booked like a couple weeks out, 3 weeks out, you still have that call the next day, the very next day to confirm, like always the next day. And so you're confirming the date, like, hey, I've got you down for next Saturday at 2. I want to make sure that still works for you. Then you're pre-profiling her. And I felt like if I could get my customer to get pre-profiled by me, I felt like the appointment was like in the bag. Like it was just as important to me as getting the guest list, because I felt like this is where I got her excited about what she was going to experience. And I was just asking her all kinds of questions about her and how she looks and what preferences she had. And I felt like this is where people were like, oh, this is going to be fun. And so I would ask her what type of skin she had. I would say, you know, tell me about your skin. Is it normal to dry or combination to oily? And then I would ask her foundation preference. Tell me what foundation you prefer. Do you like no coverage, very light coverage, medium coverage, or full, like a full out coverage for your foundation? I would ask her her age. I would say, if you don't mind me asking, can you tell me how old you are? I would ask her what she currently uses for skincare. And then for makeup, I would ask her, like, do you prefer a very natural, soft look, or do you like more of a glamour look, something that's going to be more bold? And so I'm asking her these questions. She's getting excited about the appointment. Then I would talk about food and kids. Okay, food and kids. If there were two things that would annoy me so much at parties, it's having food beforehand and having a lot of kids there. And so you've got to tell them this. You got to tell them what your expectations are. And so with food, I would say, hey, it's really nice to have some light refreshments. It's like a nice touch. But I tell you what, let's save them till the end, because it's kind of awkward to like have finger food and be like eating while we're trying to do the facial. It like makes it kind of messy. And so let's save it till the end and everyone can mingle and kind of eat while we close everyone out. I feel like that's a really great timing to save it till the end. And everyone's feeling more beautiful at that time anyways. Okay, so that's how you tell her about the food. And then with the kids, this is how you say it, because you can't just say, don't bring your kids. Okay, you can't say that. So this is how you say it. You say, you know what, I would love to make this like a really fun like girlfriend night for you and your girls. And I just want your girlfriends to feel really pampered and relaxed. So what do you think? Would your friends be okay with like leaving the kids home with dad or getting a babysitter? What do you think about that? Okay, so I would try to like feel her out. Like, okay, what does she think about this? And if she had hesitations, then I would say, well, hey, like talk to her and see if she just wants to have a fun girlfriend night and like not have the kids for a night and come over and spend time with you guys instead of, you know, having to drag her kids with her. So if she had some concerns, I would have her talk to those friends directly and just try to get a feel for how she was feeling about it. Because if she doesn't want the kids there, if you can get the hostess like on your side with not wanting the kids there, then she's gonna tell that to her girlfriends, okay? And then you talk about the guest list. And I would say, like, how's your list of like your 20 best girlfriends? How's that list going? And sometimes they either have it and it's ready to go, or you sort of have to coach them through it. Like, okay, what about your neighbors? Or like, who do you go to church with? Or who do you go to high school with? And you're like coaching her through brainstorming to get to that 15 or 20 for that guest list, okay? Oh no, somebody's saying they lost me. We lost you. Oh no. Okay, I heard that from Jamie and Janice. Jamie and Janice. Maybe refresh. Maybe refresh your browser. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep going, you guys. So those of you who we lost, I'm thinking to refresh your browser and maybe I'll be back. Melissa Tackett, we lost a connection. Katie Colson. I'm there for the Colson Hub. I'm there for Angels Hub. You can see you lost connection. You know what? I think it's refreshing the browser. Like if your like browser went to sleep, you may have lost it. Click the link again. Click the link again. Still have you. Okay, so some people have me and some don't. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking to go back to email. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Okay, those of you who lost connection, go click on the link again. Okay. It seems like most people are good, so I'm going to keep going. And this is being recorded, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so then you get your guest list, and that's your coaching with her. Remember, that's the 24-hour call after you booked her the day before. Okay, so now let me pause and tell you a story. Yes, refreshing the browser works. Okay, great. Okay. Let me tell you a story when everything changed for me And this was very early on in my business. Okay, so for my first 5 months, you guys, I held power starts and I was successful. I made money. I built confidence. I sold product, kind of built my team. I wasn't real big in team building yet. I wasn't a red jacket yet, but was starting to get the hang of that and really fell in love with Mary Kay. But I almost stopped going after those 5 months because I didn't have any vision. But then I went to seminar and I like caught that vision and decided to become a national sales director. And at that time, for those 5 months, you guys, I was really good at booking for my bookings. Okay. I think it was my second month in Mary Kay. My director came and taught us how to do it. And I just really like latched onto that skill and was focused on booking for my bookings. And I was doing a good job booking for my bookings and like booking my friends and family. But I came to a point in my business where I really like, I needed to get on the phone more. I needed to get on the phone more. And I was still like sort of afraid of the phone. It seemed like it weighed 10,000 pounds and it was awkward. I dreaded making booking calls, didn't really like it. And so at seminar, I got this idea to get 100 no's in a month, okay, to get 100 people to say no to me. And so I printed off this sheet that had 100 little boxes in it. And every time I would get a no, I would check it off on the box and write the name down of who said no to me. And I don't know why this worked for my brain, but it was like reverse psychology. And it worked, you guys. It worked because it felt like I was still winning. Even when I got a no, it felt like I was accomplishing something. And I'm a checklist person, so I got to check a little box off. And so it really just changed my mindset about booking. And so when I would get a no, usually here's how I would feel. Before my 100 no's tracking sheet, I would feel disappointed. I would feel like a little embarrassed. I would feel like, God, what did I say wrong? Like, what did I say that was wrong? Or did she think I was too pushy? Like I would just like be all up in my head about getting this no, and I would feel discouraged. And, it just took away my confidence when I got a no. Now, when I have my 100 no's tracking sheet, when I got a no, instead of like getting all up in my head about feeling rejected, I mean, I would literally celebrate. I was like, yes. And I would check it off the list. And then what did I do next? I picked up the phone and I called the next person. And not only called them, but called them feeling accomplished and feeling like I was doing good and feeling like I was making things happen. Picked up the phone and called the next person. And I just kept doing that. No after no after no. I just kept going. And guess what? I got a lot of yeses too. I got 67 no's that month, more rejection than I had ever received in my entire life. 67 no's. 67 people said no to me. I said, no, I am not interested in what you have. But that is the month I went on target for my car. And then the next month went into DIQ. And it really changed everything. And it got to the point that I had called so many times and done the script that I built confidence. And I was no longer afraid of the phone. Okay, I habituated myself to the thing that I feared, and it lost its power over me. The fear lost its power over me because I just kept doing it. I habituated myself to something I was afraid of. And really, I swung that pendulum, the pendulum? I swung it high and wide on the side of failure. Okay, I got 67 no's. I swung it high and wide on failure, pain, and rejection. And it swung in equilibrium to the side of success and the joy and satisfaction that comes from that. Because I put myself out there and I was willing to fail and willing to fail again and willing to fail again. And so 100 no's, you guys, it really worked for me. And I hope that it works for you. And we created a 100 no's tracking sheet that is in your packet. And that is one of your challenges this month. I'm trying to find it. It's somewhere in there. It's in there. That's one of your challenges this month is to try to get those 100 no's. Okay. And habituate yourself to what you're afraid of and make things happen. And a no counts for a no on a booking call or a no on a career survey. Okay, it counts both. A no on a booking call, a no on a career survey counts towards your 100 no's. Okay, let's go through the referral script. I am going to go through this one a little bit more quickly, you guys, partially because of time and also because I have about a 18 or 20 minute video on booking with referrals that is pretty good. And so that's going to be a part of your homework is to watch that. So I'm going to just go through kind of quickly on how to book referrals and we're gonna take a little break after we run through this script, okay? So referral script, again, I think it's all in like how you say it and the tone of voice that you use and the confidence that you have with it. And so you would say, you know, hey, Brianna, this is Leah. You have absolute, and actually, let me back up. When they say hello, when they're like hello, you would say like, Brianna? Okay, not like, may I speak to, or is Brianna there? You'd say, Brianna? Like you're her girlfriend, like, Brianna? And she's like, yeah. And then you would say, hey, this is Leah, and you know what? You have no idea who I am, but I'm actually, okay, sorry, let me back up. You have no idea who I am, but I'm friends with your girlfriend, Ashley Smith. Okay, and you want to say her first and last name for that name recognition. Like, I'm friends with your girlfriend, Ashley Smith. And a couple weeks ago, or whenever you got together with her, and if you got together with her like 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't say that. I would just say like, I got together with your girlfriend. Okay, I think referrals, even if they're like 2 years old, you can still call them. Okay, I just may not mention the fact that you've waited 2 years to call her. So I'd say a couple weeks ago, I got together with your girlfriend and we had this great pampering session. It was a lot of fun. And during her pampering session, she was able to give away a gift card in a Mary Kay pampering session to her friend. And she thought of you. And so I'm just calling to see when you'd like to set up your pampering session to redeem the gift card and the session that she thought you would love. Okay, so that's sort of the gist of what you say. And then here's the most common response you're gonna get. She's gonna say, what? Like, what is this? Like, how did I get this? She's gonna ask a question. And here's the mistake that most people make. They go into way too many detail. I mean, you start telling her that we've got vitamin A, C, and E in our night solution. Okay, she doesn't need to know that. And so you just repeat what you just said, but in a more simple way. Okay, you don't go into more detail. Again, a confused mind does nothing. So you would say like, oh, okay, it's just this really fun pampering session that Ashley Smith and I did a couple weeks ago. You get a free facial and a makeover and a $10 gift card to spend. Ashley thought you would love it and it's super fun. And I'm just calling to see when you'd like to set up your appointment to redeem the gift card. And so you just sort of repeat what you just said, but don't go into too many detail, okay? Too much detail. Some of you keep talking and talk too much and you need to like cut yourself off. Okay, and then this is the most crucial moment, you guys. The most crucial moment is sometimes a pause, but it's not always a pause. It's sometimes a pause or just this moment where, you know, what do you say next? And in that moment, you have to jump in and say, well, hey, like what would typically work better for you? Would it be a weeknight or a weekend? Okay, she hasn't said she's interested. She hasn't said yes. She hasn't expressed any interest. You are just jumping in and saying, well, hey, like what would typically work better for you? Would it be a weeknight or a weekend? If you let her speak in that moment or that pause, guess what she's gonna say? Oh, can I call you back? She's not gonna say no. Some people do. But more than likely, she's gonna say, well, hey, can I call you back? And then you think, oh, sure, yeah, she's interested. No, she's not. She's not gonna call you back. Okay? So you've got to jump in and say like, well, hey, what typically works better for you? Would it be a weeknight or a weekend? Now, if she's really not interested, usually she'll tell you, you know, most women will say, you know, can you just pick somebody else? I'm not interested. But if you can get that part out of what typically works better for you, the likelihood of booking her is so much stronger. And if she's really adamant about maybe calling back or looking at her schedule, you try the tentative booking approach, which we talked about. And you definitely make sure you set up a time to call her back the very next day. Remember, keep the ball in your court. Okay, and then the same thing, you turn that facial into a party using the same script that we talked about earlier. You turn that facial into a party and say, hey, a fun thing about your appointment is you can bring girlfriends. You get an additional $10 gift card for every girlfriend you bring over 18. And for referrals, I do up to 5. That was always my Hostess program. $10 free for every woman over 18, up to 5. And then at that party, I would present my $100 free if you party with me Hostess program. Okay, but that was too confusing for a referral. So I kept it super simple, just 10 free for every woman over 18, up to 5. So she could earn $50 in free product. Okay, and so then you kind of go through the exact same process. You set up a time to confirm her the next day. You start the initial coaching process. You get her guest list. You talk about food and kids, and you really go through the same process. Now, let me talk about voicemail. Because referrals are easy to book, but it's more challenging to hold them because they have no relationship with you. So she doesn't really feel bad to cancel with you, whereas like your girlfriend's going to feel bad, but our referral doesn't feel bad. And so you'll more often get these to cancel. You have to go through more referral names to get the bookings that you want to get than you would if you had a relationship with someone. That's just how it is, okay? And that's totally normal. And so let's say I set up her call for 24 hours later and she doesn't answer, okay? I'm supposed to call her at noon and it rings, goes to her voicemail. I hang up and I call right back, thinking like, okay, I might get her on the second time. And a lot of times you do. If I don't catch her and it goes to her voicemail again, I would leave a message. I would say, hey girl, this is Leah. I just said I would call you at noon to double confirm everything for your appointment. When you get a chance, just give me a quick call back. Okay, so I'm just saying why I'm calling, give me a call back. Again, I'm not leaving a long detailed voicemail. Okay, so then I leave that message and then I'm gonna try her 2 more times, okay? I'm gonna try her again either that evening or the next day and hang up. And then I'm gonna do the final attempt either that evening or the next day. So usually within 72 hours, I've sort of tried her those 3 times. And in that third time, it's my closure call. If I'm calling her a third time, she is not on my date book, her name's already scratched off, and I'm just bringing closure to it. And I'm saying, hey girl, okay, this is Leah again, just wanted to see if I could catch you. And you know what, since I haven't heard back from you, I'm gonna assume that you're no longer interested in the pampering session, which is totally fine. If that's not the case, give me a call back and we can set something up. Okay, so you're closing it. You're telling her, if I don't hear from you, since I haven't heard from you, I'm assuming you're not interested. If you are still interested, call me back, we can set something up. And so that way, you don't really have to commit to that original time that you gave her. Okay, you can fill in that spot with another booking or another appointment, and you don't have to really honor that since you hadn't heard from her. Sometimes they'll call you back, and if that time's still available, great, or you book her for another time. Okay? All right, you guys, let's take a little break here. I can't believe it's already been this long. Okay, so let's take a little break. Here's what I want you to do on your break this time. These pictures you guys have all been texting in the Daring Greatly Voxer group. I want you to tweet them, okay? So take that picture, put it on Twitter with the hashtag Daring Greatly, and tag me in it, at Leah Laughlin. Tag me in it because I want to see it. And that's how I get to see it, is if you tag me so it shows up on my notifications, okay? So if you haven't taken a hub picture or a hub selfie, I want you to do that now, and I want you to tweet it so we can all see each other on Twitter. So take 2 minutes and do that, and then we'll come back to finish up some training. Okay, you guys, let's get refocused here. I'm seeing so many tweets coming through. That's so fun. Okay, let's keep going because we have like so much to cover. And there's a question in our Daring Greatly Voxer group that is mainly, well, it's actually just directors are in that group and hub hosts are in that group. We've got a Daring Greatly Voxer group. And somebody asked about lead generation, like how do you get all those leads? And so that we are going to cover that. We're not going to get to it tonight because I just looked over our stuff and we still have a lot to cover, but we are going to touch on that. But one thing I want to challenge you to do is like really make an extensive list of people that you know, okay? And with this, I'm speaking to everyone, but this is more directed at maybe the newer people. You guys, I haven't exhausted my warm circle of close friends and family. Okay, I still have people in my life I can invite on these marketing hangouts. If I've been in this 9 years and I haven't, I guarantee you haven't. You haven't maxed out your warm circle. And your acquaintances and the people that you run into, you haven't. I would put money on it that you still have people to call and you still have people to contact, and probably a lot. Linda Tupin trains on this all the time, that the average American wedding, people invite anywhere from like 200 to 500 people to their wedding. And so make that wedding list. Go back to your wedding list. Who did you invite? Look at those names. There's people out there. And then as I sort of was going through those people, if you've been in this longer, you've already connected with those people, maybe not all of them, but you've connected with some of them. I got really good at always getting referrals. I had more referrals than I could ever possibly even call. So I was always getting referrals, and booking from my bookings were the ways that I kept my names going. For 2 years, I did work with David's Bridal and got names of brides, but I was always working with referrals too. It wasn't ever just David's Bridal. And Daisha made a good point at our fall advance. Daisha Weekant, she said, you can't just work with one group. You've got to do booths at a festival. You've got to do bridal shows. You've got to do warm chatter. You've got to do referrals from friends. You've got to book from your bookings. You've got to have like leads coming from a lot of different places. And you can do that if you're really intentional about it. And if you try one thing and it doesn't work, try something else, okay? Remember, that's like the Daring Greatly way, is like if something fails, just keep going. It doesn't mean every idea is gonna fail. Just try the next idea. And so we will go more into that. We actually had somebody post a call that Kristen Sharp did on lead generation. So I'll make sure that gets in our Facebook group. So for those of you who really like need that, we'll make sure you're going to get that information. Okay, notifications are rolling through on my device, my 3 devices. I've got my phone, my iPad, and my computer very quickly, and that's exciting. So, okay, let's keep going, you guys. So text booking, guys, I included a text booking script in there. You may have learned one from your sales director that's different. So if you've got a different one and it works for you, use that. But we did include one in there that you can use. And so check that out. It's got all the words there for you. And I know that most people textbook. I did not grow up in Mary Kay textbooking. We actually called people, but I think textbooking is great as long as you confirm and pre-profile in person. I think that's the biggest mistake that maybe people make with text booking, is you're texting to confirm and you're texting to pre-profile. And I think just for you and your own personal safety, like, you need to hear that person's voice. You need to make sure she's not a dude, okay? I mean, really, you need to hear her voice and get a feel for who she is. You guys, I kid you not, when I got really good at my booking calls, if someone answered the phone and I didn't like her tone of voice, I did not book with her, okay? If she was like, hello, I'm like, stay away from me. I didn't want to book with negative people. And if somebody can't answer the phone nicely, like, I'm not gonna give her my time, okay? And so if she answered the phone, like really negatively, I would still go through my script, but I would say, hey, check your calendar and call me back. I knew she would never call me back, okay? Some of you are using that thinking they're gonna call you back, but I would use that with people I really didn't wanna book with. So that's why I would never just text book without hearing someone's voice. You wanna like hear her voice. And if you're texting with her and you get her on the phone, she's like, hello, I would say, hey, check your calendar, call me back, click. because you don't have time to be with negative people, okay? You're looking for the eagles who are soaring, my friends. Okay, so that's textbook. You've got to confirm live. So once you book it with her, what you would text next is you would say, okay, the next thing we need to do is just chat for a couple minutes so I can ask you questions about how you look, so I can come really prepared to your appointment with the products you really need. So would tomorrow at noon or 6 p.m. work better for you? So you'd tell her, the next thing we need to do is talk live so I can be prepared. Would tomorrow at noon or 6 p.m. work better for you? Okay, so Facebook friends, we also included a Facebook script for you to use. I got this from Katie Colson, and she had a friend who has a lot of connections, and so she would be reaching out to his friends, and so you're reaching out to friends of friends, and the Facebook script that's in your workbook is it's about a summer makeover, and so obviously you're going to change that to holiday makeover, and you can change it for every season of the year. And so that's something you would be sending to friends of friends, is that Facebook script. We wanted to make sure you had something you could use on Facebook. And now I want to talk about coaching with confidence. Okay, coaching with confidence. I'm going to tell you just a quick story about when I started to just have more confidence about what we do. Okay, so I held my first few parties. They were with friends and family. Some of them went really, really well, and some of them went really, really bad. Some of them I sold a lot, and some of them I didn't sell much. Okay, so sort of hit or miss. I had some good ones, had some bad ones mixed in there. But at every single party, you guys, whether it went well or didn't go well, and whether people bought a lot or didn't, at every single party, women had fun. I mean, they had fun. And they were like, oh my gosh, thank you for coming. And I didn't even do a good party at that point. They were like, this was so much fun. Thank you for coming. We love the products. Even if they couldn't buy a lot, they still liked them and wanted them. And they just had a great time. And I came in and the energy was sort of low, and I left, and like people had their shoulders back and they were looking at their face and they felt beautiful, and people just had a great time. And so after this happened several times in my first few parties, it like dawned on me, and I had this breakthrough moment where I realized that I really had something to offer. With my Mary Kay business, like I had a great service and gift to offer other women. And it took me seeing women have fun, party after party after party, to realize I'm like, oh, I have something to offer. And so instead, because before I had that breakthrough thought, you guys, how I was thinking about it is that I was trying to get something from someone. I was trying to like get something from them. And then when I realized I had a service to offer and a gift to offer, it switched my mindset of trying to get to like, oh my gosh, I want to give this. Like I've got something to give. I've got something to offer. I've got a way I can bless women and they can have a lot of fun with it. And that gave me confidence. All of a sudden when I was booking, I'm like, well, this is going to be fun. And I was more enthusiastic and I was more confident about the great service I had to offer. Okay, so you really have to be convinced that you have something to offer, and not that you're not just trying to like get from people, because then you're communicating that like maybe desperation or that lack of confidence. I got so to the point where I was so confident with my booking that I was like shocked when people said no. I was like, what? Like, you don't want to get together with me? Like, you don't even know what you are missing. Like, I'm going to make you feel important and beautiful. It's going to brighten your day. You're going to love these products. You're going to like being my friend. Like, she must not know who I am. That was really like the confidence I had, that I'm like, oh my gosh, she's really missing out. Like, she's really missing out by not getting together with me, because I knew she would have such a great time. And so that attitude and that mindset, you guys, it doesn't happen overnight, okay? And you can't just make it up if you don't have it. You can't just make it up. But when you start really working your business and putting some of these things into practice, you guys, you'll eventually have that mindset where when people don't book with you, you're like, what? Like, you don't even know what you're missing out on. So I want you to grow in that level of confidence and really practice that level of confidence over the next 3 weeks. Okay, and I want you to get paranoid, but I want you to be inverse paranoid. Okay, inverse paranoid. And I need a tissue, you guys. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I didn't want to see you, have you watch me blowing my nose there. Okay, so inverse paranoid. We're usually paranoid about the negative stuff. Okay, so I want you to be really aware of how you're thinking about your parties and your appointments, and even, I mean, really just even anything that you do over these next 3 weeks. I want you to be really aware of what you're thinking and expecting. Okay, so my first few parties, I was thinking like, oh, people don't really want to do this. Like, she's just doing this to like help me. Like, she's probably annoyed. She's probably gonna think like everything's too expensive. Okay, those were some of my thoughts that I was like thinking through in my mind. And I guarantee you're thinking some of those things, same things too, unless you've learned to not do that. So I want you to switch what you're imagining in your mind. I want you to imagine her being so grateful for the appointment or the party that she's going to hold with you. I want you to imagine her feeling more beautiful than she's felt like all month. I want you to imagine her feeling like gorgeous and confident going home to her husband who's excited to see her new look. I want you to imagine that you're the first person that's made her feel important all week. You're the first one. I want you to imagine that she's actually thanking God that she made a connection with you and that you're her new friend. I want you to imagine a year from now, her coming back to you and saying like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for introducing me to Mary Kay, either the products or the opportunity. I want you to imagine servicing her as like a lifelong customer and getting to know her over the years and like walking through life with her, and like that maybe one day you're going to do her daughter's makeup at her wedding and you get to share in that special day with her family. Okay, I want you to start imagining those things. When you get on a career survey, I want you to imagine her coming to you a year later saying, thank you, my family just earned a free car because you shared the opportunity with me. Okay, I want you to get inverse paranoid. Stop being paranoid about all the negative stuff, you guys. Get paranoid about the positive stuff. Like, what if? What if it could change your life? And what if you're the person that's supposed to offer it to her? Okay? Don't give up the opportunity because you're worried about what she's going to think. You get the life you create. You create what you expect. Okay? You get the life you create and you create what you expect. And if you're expecting everyone to be annoyed with you at the party, that might be what you get. But if you're expecting everyone to be grateful and feel confident and beautiful at your party, that's probably what you'll get. Okay? All right, more on coaching. More on coaching, you guys. I would always send a thank you card to the hostess and then call her guests to pre-profile. And then before I would mail invitations, now I would just use a pic collage. Unless you're just all about mailing the invitations, I would just create the image that I talked about a few minutes ago and do a text follow-up with that. So let me go over a quick pre-profile script for your guests, you guys. And that is in your packet. So don't worry about getting these words down because it's in your packet. And I almost prefer leaving a voicemail, and that's mostly what you're going to get. But I want her to hear my voice. I do want her to hear my voice. And I would say, you know, hey, Brianna, my name is Leah. You don't know who I am, but your girlfriend, Ashley Smith, had your name on her invite list for the pampering session on Friday, or whatever you want to call it, our girls' night out, or the Mary Kay party, or where sometimes we would do muffins and makeovers, or margaritas and makeovers, or whatever. So you mention the type of party that it's going to be, and you go on to say, like, I just wanted to call and introduce myself and ask you a couple of questions about your skin and makeup preferences so I can come really prepared. It's going to be a ton of fun and super chill. And so we actually are going to do a satin hands treatment about 10 minutes before we start. So come about 10 minutes early and we'll start at 7 o'clock sharp. You know, I can't wait to meet you, and bring a couple of girlfriends if you want to. So I'm going to leave that voicemail. And then I send the text invite, the image, little flyer. And then I send a follow-up text that says, hey girl, this is Leah. I'm friends with Ashley Smith. I just left you a quick voicemail. Let me know if I could text you a few questions about your skin and makeup so I can come prepared. So you're not really asking for a call back, and I don't think you really need a call back. I think you should just voice and hear that, and then you can text the pre-profiling information to her. I feel like you're going to be more likely to get a response if you can text that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about bookings from bookings really briefly, you guys. Bookings from bookings, and let me go through and see what I still have left to say. Yeah, okay, we're on track. Let's talk about bookings or bookings. I'm going to tell you how I did it. growing up in Mary Kay. And then I'm going to share with you another idea, and I'm going to post a YouTube video that goes over at that idea. And it's a pretty short video. And so I grew up learning to book a follow-up appointment at all of my parties. And so in my introduction to my skincare class, I would say the exact same thing every time. I would say, this is the first of 2 appointments that I do with my Mary Kay customers. At your very first appointment, okay, let me back up a little bit. This is the first of 2 appointments that I offer to my Mary Kay customers. Our hostess here tonight is actually at her 2nd appointment. That is why we're doing a customized glamour look on her, and she gets to try the brushes. I'm going to teach her how to do her eyes. She wanted to do a smoky look, so I'm going to teach her how to do that, and she just gets extra samples of products and gets a ton of free stuff tonight. Now, you guys are at your first appointment, okay? So just because of time, we're going to do a quick dash out the door look with you. But you know what? If you're interested, I could create a customized glamour look for you that we could try at your follow-up appointment. We actually have makeup artists that put looks together for people with brown eyes and blue eyes and hazel eyes and green eyes. And so I can pick out those colors for you and sort of teach you how to do makeup application at your 2nd appointment. And so you're almost telling them what they don't get. Like, they just get a dash out the door look because of time, but the hostess gets all the perks and benefits. And so then from that point on, you want to say 2nd appointment or follow-up appointment like 7 to 10 times. And when I first started doing this, I would forget to say follow-up appointment. So to remind myself, we played Pass the Pencil. I had an eyeliner pencil that I would start with one person, and I would say, every time I say follow-up appointment, you have to pass the eyeliner to the next person, and whoever ends up with it at the end of the night gets to take it home. And so I would sort of see the eyeliner pencil being passed around, and I would see it on the table, and it would remind me. And then they would also remind me. They would try to get me to say follow-up appointment because they wanted the eyeliner. And so I did that in the beginning when I was sort of developing that skill to say follow-up appointment, but then I did eventually like master that and would remember to say it. And so I didn't play that game anymore. It was really just used in the beginning to remind myself to do it. And so you say follow-up appointment 7 to 10 times. And then when you are in the individual consultation, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, you would book her follow-up appointment. And so that's how I learned to do it. That's how I grew up doing it. And that's how I booked my bookings from agreement to NSD. That is the strategy I used. Now, you guys, I've actually heard, honestly, an idea that I sort of like better. It's called Deal or No Deal. You may have heard of it. Some of you may do it. I know a lot of directors do this at their meetings to help book guests. And it's where you're playing a game, Deal or No Deal. And after they have their makeup on and they're feeling pretty, you have these envelopes, and each envelope has a free product in it. And you just keep saying Deal or No Deal and explain that they can earn that whatever's inside that envelope. If they say deal, they get that for free at their party that they book. And if they say no deal, they can't open it and they can't see what they missed out on. And when they say deal, you really celebrate that. You're like, yay, awesome. And if they say no deal, you sort of you're like, oh, really? You just sort of have fun with it. And then also you want to really let them know it helps the hostess. I think it's important to have something in your hostess program that rewards the hostess for getting bookings at that party. I would do a free brush set for 3 held bookings, a free brush set for the hostess. And so that was in addition to the $100 in free product. They would get that brush set for free. And at the hostess's 2nd appointment, I'm teaching her how to use all the brushes. And she's using the brushes and I'm using the brushes on her. And so she really falls in love with the brush set, and she's got some incentive, because you want the hostess to have that incentive because she's going to pressure her friends to book. So you don't have to pressure them. She's going to pressure them because she really wants that brush set or whatever incentive that you're offering. And so then the Deal or No Deal, Michelle Cunningham actually has a really great video. It's a pretty short video that I'm going to post after this training hangout. I'm going to post that link on our Facebook page that you can watch a few more details on what she says with that. Okay, you guys, so let's move on. I hope you're hanging in there at all your hubs. We're going to move on to marketing hangout details. We've had a lot of questions about this, and so I want to just clarify everything. I don't want you to be confused about it because then you're not going to take advantage of it. And so I want to clarify everything. And hosts at Hubs, here's what I want you to do. As I'm explaining this, we're going to take a 2-minute break after I explain this. And I want you to, if there's any questions I possibly did not answer, I want you to Vox them in our Daring Greatly Voxer group. When I'm done explaining, I'll look through and see if there's any questions I didn't answer. Okay, so that's just the host's job to Vox any questions that the group has. Okay, so that's one thing I really wanted to give to you guys in this Pacesetters group is an opportunity to share the opportunity with your customers, friends, family, and prospects. And so I truly believe you can earn a gold medal in these next 3 weeks if you really like sink your teeth into this and get in beast mode about these marketing hangouts. You can earn a gold medal in the next 3 weeks. Let me break down the numbers. If you have 2 people on each hangout, okay, and there are 12 total. 2 times 12 is 24. If you have 2 people on each one, that would produce a gold medal. If you do it based on 1 out of every 4 to 5 women you share the opportunity with are going to sign. Now, they have to be in target market, okay? The only way those numbers don't work is if your people aren't target market people, that's 25 to 55, and have a source of income is important so that they can afford the $100 starter kit. And although not required, a college education is another target market thing because they tend to be more business oriented. There are exceptions to the rules, but those are some things that involve the target market. And so if they're target market people and you do correct follow-up, meaning you have a conversation after the marketing hangout with you and her or you, her, and your director, I truly believe you can gold medal with just taking advantage of these marketing hangouts, okay? And so one of the bonus early bird voucher tasks was to start making that list, okay? So who are the sharpest people that you know? Who are customers that you haven't shared the opportunity with? Maybe you've facialed them, but you never shared with them. Who are they? Go back and look through your profile cards. You can even share this with your new customers this week. I know some of you are going to be holding parties this week. Let them know about these marketing hangouts at your skincare classes. Who are your prospects who just need one more layer? Maybe you talked to her 2 months ago and she was interested but not ready. She'd be a perfect person to get on one of these hangouts. Okay, so you really just start by making a list and keep adding to that. If you did the list of 30 for the early bird bonus voucher, keep adding to that list, okay? And so I think for every 1 person you want on there, you have to invite like 3 to 5, okay? For every 1 person you actually want to get on one of the hangouts and listen, you have to invite probably 3 to 5 people. And so the script is in your workbook and we posted it on Facebook. So you use that script to invite friends, family, customers, and prospects. And make sure they prep her. Here's what I think is optional, is watching a marketing video, either mine or someone else's. That is optional. If she's sort of like overwhelmed or hesitant, or you're not feeling like that she's super warm to the idea and it might overwhelm her to have her watch a video beforehand, then don't have her watch the video. Maybe you could use that as a layer afterwards, okay? So you just use your discretion, and sales directors, maybe you train your unit on what you think the best practice is for your unit. If you throw too much at her all at once, that's when people get confused and sort of back off. So the video might be a little bit too much because there's also a link for the YouTube webinar and there's also a link for her to fill out her response. It just might be too many links all at once. Definitely let her know to not come on early. Okay, she's not going to see anything. It's literally going to start at the exact time that it's supposed to start. So tell her, you don't need to call in early, and make sure they know they don't need to talk and nobody's going to see them. Okay, if they think they have to talk or maybe somebody's going to see them on the screen, they're going to hesitate to get on. So make sure that they know they don't have to say anything. Nobody's going to see them. They're only going to be watching. They're only going to be watching. And we're going to have our top directors who are doing these marketing calls, we're going to have them start talking a minute after the exact time. So if their calls or their hangouts at 9, excuse me, if they're, okay, hold on just a minute. I'm back. Okay, if it's at 9, she's gonna start talking at 9:01, okay? So make sure, your people don't get on early. And then here's another thing you need to talk to your director about, and directors you need to train your unit on, is whether or not you want them to set up the career survey before they watch or not. I know some sales directors do that. I know some don't. And so sales directors, it's your job to coach your unit on that. If you definitely want them setting up that career survey before they even watch the live hangout, then have them do that and coach them to do that. If you want to sort of wait till the feedback comes in on the Google Doc form, then have them do that. And then maybe you set up the call after their feedback comes in. I will let sales directors decide that on their own. And then you want to wait to text the link for their feedback until after. Okay, I think it's too much information on the front end, and it gives you a good excuse to follow up with her right after. So if she's on a hangout at 9 p.m., it's going to be over at 9:15. Okay, I'm asking our speakers to only stick to 15 minutes. I think we lose people after that. So at 9:15, it's going to be over. I would recommend you watch it too if you can. And then right after, if the script is in the packet, say thank you for your time. Here's the link to get your feedback, and this is what actually enters you to win the clutch. The designer clutch we're giving away. Now we are only counting responses up until midnight. And so she has to fill it out that day. So if she watches, like tomorrow, Tina's is at noon, deadline would be midnight to give her response. And we would only draw names from the responses that came in between noon and midnight. The recordings are going to be available. So Tina goes at noon. We're going to have a YouTube recording that we're going to make available to you guys because we want you to be able to use it. But if she watches it the next day, she's not going to get entered to win for that clutch, okay? Because we're only counting responses up to midnight that same day. And we're doing this because we want people to respond right away. If there's a lag time in their response, and then responding that day. And so we are rewarding that with a designer clutch. If people watch that day, respond that day. And I think it's best if they do it live, if they watch live versus just watching a recording. Okay, so the script is in there that you can use. And then sales directors, here's some more information. You have access to all those responses. Okay, so if you open up that link, you can see your own guest responses and then all the responses for the people in your unit. We're making that available to you so you can do quick, effective follow-up. But it's going to be a lot, okay? It's going to be a lot of people on there. It's going to be hard to sort through. So yes, you can sort through it and pick out those names from people in your unit. But one thing Melissa, my assistant, is going to do is she's going to sort it by name once a day. And once a day, it's going to be updated. The sorted version is going to be updated, which just means it's going to be easier to like look through it and find your people. Okay? Okay. So then, my friends, let's take a 2-minute break right now. Since I've explained this, I'm sure there might still be questions that I can clarify. Let's take a 2-minute break. Hosts, please box your questions, and in 2 minutes, I'll start answering those questions, and then we'll move on to sort of our last topic. Okay? Okay, I see one question coming in. I'll wait for you to type it out, Mary. Okay, a question came in about the link. The first 4 Hangouts, Tuesday with Tina, Wednesday with Callie, Thursday with Diane, Friday with Katie, are all in the Facebook group. Both the flyer and the link that you will copy paste and send to your customers. They're already on that Facebook page. You just need to go in and find them on there. And then I'll probably do that again next week, maybe this weekend or very early next week. I'll do the same thing. I'll just post all 4 all at once so that you can have access to all 4 links and flyers and times. So Amy, I hope that answered your question. Amy Polner. If they can't watch live, you said we're going to get the recording so that they can watch it that day. Yes, the recording processes shortly after it's over. And so I'll pull the link once it's been recorded, and either myself or Mel will post the recording. Okay, so you will have access to the recording that day. So they still could get entered to win, technically, okay? If someone wants to watch more than one marketing call, can they? Oh, yes, they can enter multiple times. They could watch all of them if they wanted to. There's no limit on how many they could watch. Yeah, so they can watch multiple. They could watch all of them if they wanted to. Okay. Oh, okay. So Amy, that answered your question. Great. And then Charlotte, I haven't seen the Wednesday link yet. It's on there. Wednesday is with, let's see, it goes Tina, Callie. Callie's is on there. Unless I'm crazy, I'm pretty sure I posted that. Okay, you guys, let's keep going here. We've got a couple more topics before we wrap this thing up. So let me talk about closing the roll-up bag and doing an individual consultation. Okay, this is a big one. This is a biggie, you guys. First of all, you need to do them. You need to do them. I think probably the number one reason consultants maybe don't get results at parties is because they're not meeting individually afterwards. They're like closing out around the table or thinking they can call and follow up afterwards. So you absolutely have to do them. And I think the number 2 reason why consultants don't get results is because they don't follow the script. They just say whatever and rely on their own words. And let me tell you, I've made both of those mistakes. In my very early parties, I didn't do them because I thought they were awkward to do them. But let me tell you, it is a lot more awkward to like walk around to each person at the table and like crouch down beside her and try to close her. That's awkward, okay? And then also, I've tried to do it by just using my own words. And so I would say things like, do you want to have a party? And that just doesn't work. And so you've got to follow the script and you've got to do them. And so let me give you a couple of tips. First of all, you've got to pick the place on the front end. Like if you're going to do it at the couch or the kitchen table, you pick that spot and you put your purse and whatever paperwork you have there. So lookbooks, sales tickets, like everything is over in that other spot. So you can't like chicken out and just reach down and grab that stuff and close people around the table. So you pick the spot on the front end. Then you tell people that that's going to happen. I would say this party has 3 parts. We're going to start with skincare. We're going to do a little bit of color while the hostess gets her glamour look. And then at the very end, I would love to meet with you all individually to just get your opinion of the products and answer any questions that you have. And if there's something you'd like to purchase, you could do it at that time, but you guys just relax and have a great time. There's no obligation to buy. And so I'm saying that in the beginning that they're going to meet with me afterwards. And I would even mention it a couple times throughout the party to remind them like, hey, we're going to get together afterwards. So it's not a surprise. When the party was over, I would take one person back at a time. And I would always try to pick the sparkler, like somebody who I thought was excited and like would possibly buy a lot. I would pick her first and I would just pick her. I would say like, hey, Katie, you want to go with me? And actually, let me back up. I would ask if anybody had to leave right away and I would start with them. If not, I would pick that person go to the couch with them. When I got done, I would take her back to the table and get the next person. And I'd keep going back and forth to the table, picking people up and delivering them just to like keep it going. I would put her back to the group and I would face the group. I think just that body language communicates like, I've got nothing to hide. You face the group. And then her back is to her friends so she's not distracted. Okay, so you want to set it up like that. Now at the very end, you do close the roll-it bag. And what is ideal, okay, what is ideal is to have a filled roll-it bag for every single guest that is there. That as you are closing it, she's actually unrolling it, unzipping it, pulling out the products if she wants to, and like touching and feeling and taking ownership of that bag. If you want to sell a lot of bags, let them hold it, let them experience it, let them see the bag so that they don't want to like let go of it. Okay. Now, if you don't have the inventory to support that, that's okay. You guys don't freak out. Just start building to that level. Okay. Just start building to that level of having that much inventory on hand that you have a bag for everyone. I would always fill it with an example of a princess bag. And then they would take it back to the individual consultation with them. And if they purchase products, I would often have what they needed right there. And if they got the bag, it's already sort of laid out for them. I just might have to swap out a couple of things to make sure it's customized for her. So it did make the delivery of product a little bit more smooth because it was already right there. I might just have to run out to my car for a couple of things. Okay, so you close the roll-it bag by going through the set sheet. This is like the best set sheet I've seen recently. I love it. It's simple, it's clear. There's not too many products, there's not too many words. Excuse me. I love it. I think it's professional. I got this from Mallory Headings. We will post the PDF of this document. It's in your packet. It's one of the best ones I've seen recently. I think the biggest mistake with these is too many products and too many words, okay? We cannot confuse people. They won't buy if they're confused. So this is a really good one. And you go through the products set by set. You say, okay, set number 1 was the Time-Wise Miracle set. This is what you guys all tried on your face. And you just sort of do like a quick review, romance the products, and go through the sets so they're clear on what their options are. And then you go through the, I always called it Princess Bag and Queen's Bag. This one says Beginner's Bag, Pro Bag. Those are their 2 options to get the bag, which I like those words. I feel like they're maybe more professional, more modern words to call it the Beginner's Bag or the Pro Bag. And so you go through the deals that they can get. I would always mention a payment plan. When I did a payment plan, I did half up front, so I'm covered for the products. The other half was split into 2 on her next 2 paydays. I most likely took a credit card number and would charge on those days, or I would take post-dated checks. But I would mention, as I was closing it, that I do payment plans and that they have the option to split it up into payments. I sold a lot of bags on payment plans. Okay, so you go through this set sheet one by one, and then at the end, as you're sort of cleaning up and getting ready for the individual consultations, you say, okay, flip your profile card over on the back and write down your top 4 or 7, you pick. And I would probably say 7. When I did the Queen's Bag, it was 8. But say you write down your top favorite 7 sets on here. And so they're writing down their sets. You're getting ready for the individual consultation. You take that first person back. And now walk you quickly through the individual consultation. And you could literally have this sheet in front of you. If you're not familiar with the words and you sort of need a reminder, highlight certain parts of it, put it in a page protector, and just say, hey, like I'm sort of like in my training and I just need to run through all these questions with you. And just read them to her so you don't forget. And so it makes you like say them and it makes you learn them. And so you first ask icebreaker questions. And you just say like, hey, did you have a good time tonight? How does your skin feel? And then what was your most favorite part of the miracle set that you tried tonight? So you're just asking some questions. You don't have to ask those exact same questions. That's just an idea of asking a couple questions just to break the ice and get her talking about the products. Okay, and then you sell. That's the first thing you do is you sell. And I would say, hey, show me your most favorite sets that you wrote down. And so she gives me her profile card and I go through it and I sort of one by one customize and talk about her sets. And so a lot of times people put the basic set. And so I might say like, okay, were you normal to dry or combination oily? Or then maybe they put the foundation set, and I would say, hey, remind me, which foundation do we have you tried? Did you like that? Is it enough coverage for you? So I'm sort of just like going through the products and customizing them and talking about them. And then once you do that, here's the moment that if she wrote down, let's say 4 sets, okay, her top favorite sets, you would say, well, hey, like this is actually our princess bag, or on this sheet, it's the beginner's bag. This is actually our beginner's bag, which is a really great value, and it saves you a lot of money. Is that something you'd like to take home with you tonight? So again, you say like, well, hey, these 4 sets, this is our beginner's bag, and you actually get a really great value, and it saves you some money because you get a discount when you buy in bulk. Is that something you'd like to take home with you tonight? And then she either says, sure, let's do it. And you process the payment information and get all of the products down that she needs, or she's going to say, no, that's too much, can't afford that. And then you say, okay, well, tell me where you want to start. And actually you say, well, tell me what set you want to start with. Tell me what set you would like to start with. And you write down the information. So you sell first, you guys. Next, you book the follow-up appointment. And so this is what I learned to say, and this is what I really mastered to get bookings from my bookings. I would say, okay, so for your follow-up appointment, I do my appointments on, blah, 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 blah. You list your schedule, and then you say what works best for you. Okay, so hey, so for your follow-up appointment, I actually do my follow-ups on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. What works best for you? Now, the only way this works is if you said follow-up appointment like 7 to 10 times, because she's got to know what this is. The first time I did it, it was like magic. I booked every single person at that appointment or at that party saying, hey, I do my follow-up appointments on da-da-da-da-da. What works best for you? Okay. Or you can do the deal or no deal. And that's when you're actually getting the yes to the booking as a group, and you're booking it on your calendar individually, and you start the coaching process. Okay, and again, I'll post that Michelle Cunningham video. Okay, then you do, when she books with you, the same thing, you turn the facial into a party, you turn her follow-up appointment into a party, and you start going over your Hostess program, making sure she's clear about that. And then because you got referrals, those referrals that she wrote down during the referral game, that's your guest list. And you ask her like, hey, is there anyone you want to add to this list that you would love to invite to your party? So you're asking her if she wants to add to that guest list. Then you guys, you do book guests to meeting, and you book career surveys. That's the other things that you do in the individual consultation. And let me make sure I'm going through everything that I want to. Okay, so with guest to meeting, I did eventually master this. This was a weakness in my business early on, but then I started using the before and after model portfolio script. And so at the party, when all the group is together, after they had done their color, I would say, hey, do you guys want to be in a model portfolio for me? And everyone kind of looks at me a little weird. They're like, oh yeah, sure, what is that? And so I would go on to describe it. I would say, hey, I do these makeup clinics twice a week, and you come and you get a free facial and a makeover, and we actually take your before and after picture at the makeup workshop. And so we take your before picture when you have no makeup on, and we don't let you smile. It's sort of like a mug shot. And then you do your makeover, and then we take your after picture, and you can smile and you look beautiful. And I actually use these pictures to create a model portfolio. And I would love for you guys to be in it. It's my goal this month to have 30 new faces in my portfolio, and you get a $10 gift card just for coming to our little makeup workshop. And I would love to have you guys come. I do it on Tuesday nights or Saturday mornings. What works best for you? So I would tell the whole group, and I would often book the whole group like right there on the spot, and then just confirm it during the individual consultation. It was easy because the group got excited about it. And so I could usually get everyone on board with it. And then it saved me a lot of time in individual consultations because I didn't have to say the same thing over and over again to the same people. We had already talked about them being a guest to my meeting, and we were sort of already set and usually already had a date. Okay, so that's how I would ask guests to the meeting. Okay, let's finish with booking a career survey. I want to talk about that briefly. So I was taught to book one with everyone. That is what my director taught me to do very early on, was to just book one with everyone, because you just don't know and you don't want to prejudge. And that's really what I learned. That's what I learned to do from very early on in my business. And a new technique and way that I learned to do it was about 2 years into Mary Kay. I listened to a conference call by the Queen of Sharing and Pearl that year, which was Roya Mattis, who's now a national sales director. And I heard this conference call of how she did her career surveys. I'm like, oh, that is so brilliant. And so after she presents the marketing information, and so for me, this was after like my iStory Dream book and the Mrs. Cab with the survey questions afterwards. And we're going to go over the marketing portion next week. Okay. So it's after the marketing portion of my skincare class. I would say, okay, you guys, so I've got this goal to get the opinion of 10 of my Mary Kay customers about our business opportunity. All you have to do is watch this quick video and then just give us your honest feedback and your honest opinion about what you think about our business opportunity. It's really super easy. And so turn your profile card over, because you're either like a yes, a maybe, or a no. Okay. If you're a yes, that means you're like, yeah, girl, like, in fact, I'm actually interested in the opportunity, so I'd love to learn more and give you my honest opinion of it, and like I'm excited to hear more information, so I'm a yes. If you're a maybe, that means like, oh, you know what, I'm probably not interested, but I'm willing to help you with your goal of doing 10, and I'm a nice person and I like to help other women with their goals, and so I would just be willing to like help a girlfriend out and help you reach your goal. I'm a maybe. And then the no's are like, no, I'm not really a nice person, don't really want to help you, don't really care about your goal at all, don't want to be one of those 10 people, like really not interested in helping other women achieve their goals. So I'm a no. So you want to make that one kind of funny, because you don't really want people to be no. And so then again, it makes the individual consultation very simple, because you see what she wrote. She was either a yes, maybe, or a no. The yeses and maybes are easy peasy. I mean, if she's a yes, you want to try to get her to sign on the spot. If she's a maybe, you're setting up a career survey. And the way you do that is you say, well, hey, what would work to follow up? What would work better for you? Would tomorrow work well, or is the next day more what you were thinking? Okay, would tomorrow work well, or is the next day more what you were thinking? So you're really only giving her a short 48-hour time frame to get back together with you, either on the phone or for coffee, depending on how you do that, how you do your career surveys. And then the no's, you use your judgment. If she's like super cute and sharp and a fun, nice person, I would call her out and say like, you're a no? Like, oh my gosh, really? And I would call her out. She probably wrote no down because she wasn't listening, okay? And when people don't know, they just write no. If she was sort of a negative Nancy and like not super sharp, then I would just let it go, okay, and just book one with the yeses and the maybes. And so that's how I booked career surveys. And I was always taught to work full circle, and a full circle party was having at least 200 in sales, 2 future bookings from your bookings, at least 2 guests to the meeting, and at least 2 career surveys booked. Okay, so 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. 4 2s is what you want to do. And now, of course, we don't want to think in minimums and just try to sell 200. You want to sell as much as you can, book as much as you can, but that's like bare minimum. You guys can't leave parties without at least 200 in retail sales, 2 future bookings, 2 guests booked, 2 career surveys booked. Okay, that's got to be like the standard. Okay, if you're in the arena daring greatly, that's what you want to expect to get out of that party. Is those results. And when you work on these skills and work on these scripts, it enables you to do that and have those results. Okay, so that's the individual consultation script. This is in your packet. You may have to tweak a little bit of the wording around the roll-up bag depending on, or around the closing sheet, depending on what roll-up bag sheet that you use. Okay, so now we just have a couple of more things that I want to talk about, and then we're going to wrap it up. There's one topic I know we're not going to get to tonight, and it's about mastering emotions, you guys. So we're just going to tag it on to next week's marketing call. So I do want to talk about customer follow-up really quickly. A lot of you did it this week. You did some customer follow-up scripts. We posted 2 scripts in the Facebook group, or you had your own script that you already used. And you guys blew it out of the freaking water. Okay, so I had my assistant add up all the retail sales, and I'm gonna share with you what we did together as a group. And this, you guys really only had, you didn't even have a full week. You only had like a couple days to really make a move on this. And as a group, we sold 43,000, $43,000, 43,226. We sold 43,000 as a group in a matter of a week. Retail, half of that is profit. So as a group, in just a couple of days, we profited $25,000 collectively. When she sent me that number, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's incredible. So well done, my friends. That is really awesome. We had a queen. Our queen was Paula Parker, who did 1,459 retail in just customer reorders. So congratulations to Paula. And we did make a list. This is besides the point, but we did make a list of who actually scored the max points, which was 73,000, not 75,000. We had 53 people score all of the points, and we're going to post those winners tomorrow in the Facebook group. So real quick on customer follow-up. I was always taught 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months to follow up. And so after I would come home from a party, I would flip ahead in my planner 3 days, and I would write down 3-day follow-up Susie Q's party. And in those 3 days, I would follow up, and it was purely just out of service. I wasn't looking for a reorder. I wasn't looking for more sales. It was purely just out of service to her. I want to make sure she's tried it. I want to make sure she's used it and knows how to use it and that she's enjoying it. Okay, so that would be 3 days. Then I would do 3 weeks. So then once I finished those calls, 3 days after her party, I would flip ahead 3 weeks and write down again, 3-week follow-up for Susie Q's party. And at that time, I would call all those people again. And again, make sure they're happy, make sure they're using it. By that time, if they're gonna have a skincare reaction, they probably already did. So you wanna make sure she's good to go with that. And I would ask the additional question like, hey, was there anything on your wish list that you wanna get now? Okay, so I would ask for a reorder to see if usually somebody's had a payday again by that point and see if there's anything additional that she wanted to get. And then I would do it 3 months later, and once a quarter when the lookbook dropped, I pretty much called every customer and did follow up with every customer when the new lookbook dropped. Even if I didn't send the lookbook to them, because I didn't send it to everyone, I would still follow up with all of my customers. And then as a top director, I did transition to actually delegating this to my assistant, and my assistant started doing this. Okay, so early on in my directorship, I did it myself, eventually delegated to an assistant to do this customer follow-up. Okay, and then there's the 2 scripts that if you haven't had a chance to use them, they're still in the Facebook group. So you can use those scripts to follow up with your customers. And you guys, I'm gonna finish with points. I know we're a little bit early, but I don't want to dive into the next topic because we will not have time to finish it, and I really wanna present it all together as one. So why don't we do this? I'm gonna announce the hubs that are in the lead based on just the early bird voucher. I wanna do that real quick just to do a little bit of recognition. Hosts, while we do that, I wanna see if there's any questions about what we talked about tonight, okay? I know there might be questions about like, okay, well, how do you do marketing at your skincare class? We're gonna cover that next week and then the following week. So there's still topics we haven't gotten to, but can I bring any clarity to what we've talked about tonight that you might have questions with? And we'll finish with that. Okay, so hosts, let me give you like, while I announce hub winners, why don't I give you a minute to collect any questions, post them in the Voxer group, and we'll kind of wrap up with that. Okay, so Melissa has added up the points, and we are doing a mystery date at the end of this Pacesetters with myself personally and whatever hub is in the lead who has the most points. And so let me share with you our top 10 right now. Okay, coming in at number 10 is the Colleen Elliott hub in Columbus. Congratulations. Number 9 is the Janice Francis Hub, also in the Columbus area. Yay! Number 8 is the Amy Polner Hub, also in the Columbus area. Number 7 is the Mary Cho Ing Hub in Indianapolis. And then we've got the Bloink Hub is number 6 right now. Number 5 is the Colson Hub. Number 4 is Angels Hub in the Columbus area. Well done. Number 3 is the Blythe Egbert Hub. Number 2 are all you girls out there in North Dakota. It is Callie's Hub. And then number 1 right now is the Pierce Hub in Cincinnati. Woo-woo! Okay, so congrats on that, you guys. And let me answer some questions for a couple minutes as we wrap up. And then we are going to be done for the night. So, can we send the links to our potential recruits ahead of time? Yes, you can. Don't confuse them with too many links all at once. But yes, you can send the links ahead of time. So, like, let's say you had them watch a marketing link. You would obviously send that to them ahead of time because you'll want them to listen before it. And then you'll send the link that they're actually going to click on and watch. I would send it that day. I don't think they need it any earlier than that. Just for, the chance of maybe deleting the text, I would send it that day. And then you're going to send the link right after to get their response. Okay, you just don't want to give them too much at once. Okay, so really follow that outline that we put in the packet. But yes, you can send it to them ahead of time for sure. Right, but they're not going to see anything ahead of time. Okay, so let's say they have the link and they click on it. You guys, it's going to take them to a YouTube page where it's going to say, this doesn't start for 4 hours. They're not going to see anything. They can't see anything until it actually goes live. Okay? Would we get multiple points for the same person listening more than once? Would we get multiple points for the same person listening more than once? I'm gonna say sure. We're all about the layering process. So let's say you've got a girl listen to one and she's super interested, needs another layer. She listens the next day. Yeah, you can count that. Counts as a layer. So yes, you can count that. Is the link for each Hangout the same or different? It is different. There are 12 different and separate links. They're all different. Okay, continuing on in this Foxer group. Do you follow up with people who didn't buy anything? Yeah, definitely. Definitely follow up with them. Definitely the 3-day one. You want to do the 3-day one. Just to say like, hey, it was great to meet you. Hope you had a great time. Depending on how warm she was would be whether I asked for a purchase or not. But see, here's the deal. If she didn't buy anything, it might be because she didn't have the money and then I would book her as a hostess. So you've got that follow up with her. Or she wanted to come to the meeting and learn more. It was very rare that I would leave a party without some sort of follow-up in place. Either she was going to be a hostess, or we were going to do a glamour facial, or she's going to come to my meeting, or we're going to do a career survey, or she bought something and I was going to follow up. Like, it would be very, very, very rare that I didn't have something set up with everyone. So let's say she didn't buy something. The idea would be that you took her to the next step. So maybe she's going to come to the meeting with you that week, or maybe you're going to talk about the marketing video on a career survey the next day. So, so yeah, there would be some follow-up. And if there's not, I would still follow up in 3 days, if only to say thank you for coming and maintaining good communication with her. Okay, and then how are the hub points calculated? Is it an average or an actual points? Thank you for that question, Colleen. It is actual points. And so let's say 10 people are in a hub and those 10 people submit their points. Those 10 submitted points are going to be added up for that one hub. So it's not, so how I ranked the top 10, I got that from Melissa, and she just ranked it top 10 according to how many points people had submitted. Okay. And then how is the studio appointment different than the other bookings? Is that 4 bookings then? Okay. Sherry, I think you're asking about book 10. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're asking about book 10. The only way you can count guests to a meeting as a part of your book 10 is if you have 3 guests confirmed. So you actually have a group of 3 people coming to the meeting and they're confirmed. That's a little shaky because honestly, probably only one of them is going to show up. But if you have 3 people confirmed, meaning you booked her and then you confirmed her the next day, I will count that. The other way to count guests to meeting is if she gives you a guest list. So let's say she's like, yeah, I want to come to the meeting and invite friends. She sends you a guest list of 5 or more people. You can count that because you're essentially having a party at the meeting. So Sherry, did that answer your question about how that counts towards book 10? Would you do a 3-day follow-up with someone who you booked as a hostess or a guest to a meeting? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. But what about the poor people who have like 3 people in there? They don't have a chance. Okay, the hubs that have 3 people, you guys, it's not something I can't control, the size of the hubs. I know you're at a disadvantage, but I don't know how to change that or control that. So how is that fair to calculate hub points if you don't live in that city? I know, yeah, it's not really fair. It's not really fair, and it's honestly something I didn't like think through totally when I set this up, that hub would get a mystery date. And yeah, I don't really know how to make it fair. Honestly, I don't know how to make it fair or even out the hubs. And maybe we can talk about that. If somebody's got a great solution, we can talk about that later. Oh, I asked about goals for every party. What's the difference between the 2? Oh, the 2 plus 2. Okay, so 200 in sales, 2 future bookings, so 2 future parties booked, 2 guests booked to your meeting, 2 career surveys booked. So those are the 4 twos. Sherry, let me know if that was clear. Katie, can we do a percentage? We'll have to talk about it separately. My brain can't really like figure out how to solve that problem right now. So if somebody's got a great solution, you can Vox me privately. And if we come up with a great solution, great. I just don't know how to make it fair. I don't know. I don't know how to even out the hub attendance. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, you guys. Awesome. Well, that is it, my friends, for this Monday night. So it's been real. Thanks for attending, and stay tuned on Facebook for more fun information, recognition, and encouragement this week. Okay, let's dare greatly this first week in November. Okay, love you guys. Have a good night.